so stay tuned for the next video. But let's go ahead, let's dive into today's case. Sorry for the long discussion here at the beginning. Alright, so today's case is interesting as it is a newer case. I know I normally do not like to discuss newer cases. I really like to wait for a lot of the facts to come out. But this one is newer and just interesting and odd, so I thought let's go ahead and cover this case. So today we are covering the case of the 3 frozen men found in Kansas City. Now keep in mind, a lot of this information is new. I'm really gonna try to report on the facts only, and we will discuss assumptions and things of that nature for sure at the end, but take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Do your own research on this, please, as well. So on Sunday, January the 7th in the year 2024, 3 friends went over to a guy named Jordan's, his house, to watch a Kansas City Chiefs game. The 3 friends that went to Jordan's house were named Clayton McKinney, who was 36 years old. There was also David Harrington, who was 37 years old, and Ricky Johnson, who was 38 years old at the time. Now, I will not be sharing Jordan's last name, as I know what it is just from research online, but a credible news source has not reported his last name, and I don't want to just go spreading a bunch of rumors out there, so we're just sticking with the name Jordan for now. Like I said, everything is kind of speculation, and since the police have not released that information out, I'm going to hold off on that for now as well. Now, on Sunday, January the 7th, 2 of the men carpooled to Jordan's house together, and one of them drove over on his own, so there ended up being 2 extra cars at Jordan's house. Now, Jordan lived in a neighborhood called Northland in Kansas City, which, if I'm doing my research right, seems to be a northern part of Kansas City that is just north of the Missouri River. I'm not entirely sure of that though, so if anyone is from the Kansas City area, definitely comment down below and let us know if I'm correct with that or not. Now, it was pretty typical for this group of 4 guys to get together and watch the Kansas City Chiefs games. And it was not unusual for the group to end up spending the night together at Jordan's house after the games, as they were often drinking and they did not want to drive home inebriated in the middle of the night or late afternoon. Now, this Sunday, January the 7th, the game started around 3:30 p.m. and I believe it ended about 3 hours later, so around 6:30ish p.m. the game was over. Now, later that night, on that Sunday, the 3 friends, Clayton, David, and Ricky, did not return to their homes, and they stayed over with Jordan as they would often do. Now, you have to think this was a pretty close group of friends to be doing this regularly, and so the family members of Clayton, David, and Ricky were at first not concerned when they did not hear from those 3 on Sunday night. However, on Monday, they all assumed that they'd kind of gotten up and gotten to work and started a little bit later. But as the day progressed and they did not hear from Clayton, first thought he was reading the messages and just not responding. But Jordan was apparently reading them, not replying at all. They began to call Jordan regularly, and he also ignored all of their phone calls. Now, on Tuesday, January the 9th, Clayton's fiance, I'm not going to name her name either, as that has also not been reported, but Clayton's fiance ended up going over to Jordan's house. I'm not sure if anyone went over to Jordan's house on Monday or if she just went on Tuesday, but she knocked on the door and Jordan supposedly just refused to answer the door, so they assumed no one was at home, or they assumed the worst had happened and began to get worried. So the fiance was just knocking at the door frantically, and after no one answered, she decided to get into the home some way to see what was going on and make sure no one needed any assistance inside. Now, Clayton's fiance managed to get through a basement window, and I'm not entirely sure how this all occurred, but after getting through a basement window, breaking in through the basement, she somehow saw that there was a deceased body in the backyard. So I'm not sure if she saw this from a basement window, if she saw this while breaking into the basement, I'm really not sure. But she saw a deceased body in the backyard. After finding this, Clayton's fiance immediately got out of there and called the police. The police showed up and found not one deceased body in the backyard, but 3 bodies were found in the backyard, all deceased. The bodies that were found were the remains of Clayton, David, and Ricky. Over the past few days, from Sunday to Tuesday the 7th to the 9th, it had snowed a bit in Kansas City, and so supposedly some of the victims were covered with snow. Now, there was a small patio area in the backyard that had a little awning over it, so I'm not sure if any of the remains were found there or if they were found scattered throughout the yard, all covered in snow. But after finding all of the victims, the police knocked on the front door and Jordan answered the door. Jordan was in a pair of boxers and he had a glass of wine in his hand. The police questioned him on the remains that were found in his backyard belonging to Clayton, David, and Ricky. Jordan's response to the police was, "I don't know what happened. They must have frozen to death out there." And that was really all that Jordan seemed to offer the police. Now, at this point in time, as of today, the police are still awaiting the autopsy reports for these 3 victims, but they claim that there were no indications of foul play at all. The family members of the victims, however, are saying that something is truly not adding up with this case. They don't understand how 3 grown men could have frozen to death in a suburban backyard with neighbors surrounding the house, and this gone unnoticed. Obviously, if they were stuck out there for whatever reason, you think they would have shouted or something of that nature, and for none of the neighbors to have heard them is rather odd, I would say. Now, there was a privacy fence surrounding the property, and while it was taller, there was a gate. Even if the gate these are three grown men. They could have figured out a way to get one of them over the gate or over the fence. They all could have shouted. It was a wood fence. They could have broken through it. There are ways. So the fact that the excuses they froze to death out there seems a little odd. Now, Jordan claimed he did not know the three men were out there. He believed they had left after the game. And since Jordan does not use the back door or go outside in the winter a lot, he had no ideas the bodies were there until the police found them and alerted him of that fact. But that does not explain to me why he wasn't answering the phone calls or when other people were knocking at his door. For me, I get not going in the backyard, but also I assume he would have gone out front at some point. How did he not know that the two cars were still there of his friends? The only way I feel that that is plausible is if maybe it had snowed enough in Kansas City for there to be, like school closings, job closings, things of that nature. And maybe he just didn't leave at all because of that and just hung out at home, had a day off from work. Something like that. Maybe he worked from home, but that's the only reason why I could see him maybe not realizing that their cars were out there. I don't know if they parked their cars in the driveway on the street. Really not sure what that looked like. So that is a little odd to me, but the only explanation, like I said, is if he just didn't go outside for some reason. Now, it is rumored that Jordan also has two